Hi, my name is Kat Kerr, and welcome to my new product series. Now, I'm always on the hunt for products that do specific things. So for this series, my hope is to try products in various ways in order to give myself and you an accurate assessment. This way we can learn what a specific product works best with and what it doesn't. Now, I'm not getting paid by any company to use their products. Some companies might choose to send me products, but the opinion is totally mine. My only hope is that the assessment gives you insight and helps you choose the right products for your project. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we're trying Redesign chalk paste. I've never tried this before. Barb over at joggles.com did a demo on it in one of her videos, and I was very curious, so I purchased aquamarine, gravel, and Hubbard squash, and I did a couple of different things with them. So the first thing I did was really just apply some with a palette knife. I wanted to make sure to keep it nice and thick, and it was a little shiny while it was wet, and then once it dried it got a nice chalk finish, and it continued to have its peaks, which is great, and it's also still very flexible even after it's dry. So this was about an hour later, and then I went and just to see if it would crack or anything, and it didn't. And then I went back the next day and I tried bending it, and it didn't crack. And you can see that it does retain all of its little texture peaks. Next, I added some to the index cards using a flat brush. I wanted to see how well it would cover on just a piece of watercolor paper. And I just added a little bit, went back and forth a couple of times. And once it dried, you can see it's still very opaque. You cannot see the paper underneath it. And the colors are definitely very pastel and soft, but still the coverage is very good. I mean, you don't see anything underneath it. Next, I take some of the paste and put it through a stencil onto the index card, and then I take a black disc-bound journal page and do the same thing. Now on both the black and the white surfaces, the colors remained nice and opaque. I really think that it looks just as nice on the black as it does on the white. Next, I wanted to see how absorbent the color was, so I didn't have any white, so I'm just using the Hubbard squash here, and I'm applying it through a stencil using a credit card, which I liked a lot better than using the knife because it definitely is a lot smoother. And then once it dried, I just added some Marabou art spray. I finished off this tag by adding a focal as well as using a white Sharpie just to add some mark making and a title. Here you can see the two different colors, and the Hubbard squash definitely absorbed some of that Marabou art spray, and which is a very nice option because then I can use it as just a regular texture paste in the future. Lastly, I wanted to see if I could use one of my fine tip markers on top of the paint, and because it dried with the brush strokes, it was a little hard, but the pen does work fine on top of it. I think you would have to just figure out a better application so that you don't have the lines. Now, all of my substrates did not have any gesso, so I don't know if my results would have been different if they did. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I found it thick enough to be able to use with a palette knife or a credit card, but also thin and creamy enough to use with a brush. It dries to a flat finish, but very opaque. When dry, it keeps its shape and absorbs color spray well. Now, the only thing that I would say that I didn't like was that because it does retain its shape, I mean, you really do see everything. So if you're using a brush, you're going to get those brush strokes. So keep that in mind for your project. To see the complete list of materials used in this video, see the description below. Thanks for watching.